Alexia, beach?
Yes.
Camping?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, as both me and my wife are huge beach bums. And considering the recent heat spell, I've decided to bring my family to Desaru Johor for a beach holiday. Modern day living in the 21st century has presented us with an abundance of options, and sometimes that can be rather difficult. Should we have bread or noodles for breakfast? Hard-boiled egg or half-boiled egg? Drive my 10-year-old sedan or this? Okay, actually this will be an easy answer for me because today we'll be going on a road trip with the Mercedes-Benz GLC 300. Okay, you want to stand here? Okay, like this. You hold Papa's hand. Okay, look to the camera, okay? Okay, how is this?
Then how all this?
Then ask me to take out.
I think you have to take everything out.
Truth is, my wife is actually really good with this whole arranging stuff. I'm actually just a cheap labor. Come on! One of the things I hear a lot from my wife after having Alexia is this. She's outgrowing her bed, we need more space, we need bigger shoes for her. And true enough, Alexia takes up more space, especially when traveling. Why my bag so small, your bag so big?
It's never enough.
Thankfully, this all-new GLC 300 has 620 litre of boot space and additional 70 litre compared to the previous model. For once, I actually quite like this fake exhaust tip. Alexia is at this age where she has what I call curious hands, and I'm always afraid that she might accidentally touch it and burn herself. Alright. Before we head out, I have preset the overall drive settings to my comfort with a touch of a fingertip.
Actually, can I drive?
Sure, why not? As cliche as it may sound, but it is true that a happy wife is a happy life. Let's do this. Now we're talking. The journey from PJ all the way to Desaru is about 400 km. I will probably get an earful from my wife if I went on this trip with my old car. Since we have a bit of time, let's talk about this car. I believe the positioning of the GLC as the middle child is perfect. It inherits all the features from its bigger sibling and at the same time more usable space than its little brother. It definitely hits the sweet spot for a young family like myself. This second generation GLC is equipped with a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine that gives you 258 horsepower and 400 Nm of torque. But what's new is the 48-volt mild hybrid system, featuring an integrated start generator that provides an additional 23 horsepower and 200 Nm of torque when needed. It can go from 0 to 100 in just 6.2 seconds. That's fast for a family SUV, even though it weighs almost 2 tons. I have a theory. The interior of a car should account for at least 30% of your key considerations before making a purchase. Think about it. We spend so much time in our cars that if the interior doesn't resonate with you, it might just add more stress at the end of a drive. Now, the interior space of the GLC is as premium as it gets for any car in this segment. In fact, I believe this generation of Mercedes is reclaiming or perhaps redefining what a premium interior should be. What do you guys think? The all-new design is aesthetically pleasing to the eye, and the seats are plush and highly bolstered, making long-distance drives like this much more enjoyable. Oh, and this second generation MBUX is finally something worth talking about. This huge tablet-like touchscreen is more intuitive and functional to use, and it gives you a better overall experience of the system. I also find the new augmented reality navigation quite refreshing to use. It can be incredibly helpful in getting your bearings right, especially in unfamiliar locations. Not convinced yet? Perhaps you need to see the light. This is our first time driving down to Desaru, and it's a lot further than I expected. Driving from the north of Johor towards the east coast requires an additional hour and a half before reaching our final destination. So to feed our hungry stomach, we decided to make a midway stop at Kluang Rail Station for a quick lunch. Just like Kluang Rail Coffee Station, which has been around for almost as long as the history of Mercedes-Benz, there's so much heritage and legacy associated with the brand that has created an unspoken loyalty and trust among people over the years. If you're in Johor, you must visit this place. Similarly, when it comes to seeking luxury, quality and innovation, Mercedes-Benz is the way to go. But is it really? Well, I guess just like how I find the food here mediocre, there will always be people queuing and coming to pay a visit. Brands that have stood the test of time have solidified their place in the market and will always be in demand. Nostalgia is a powerful thing. After driving for about 400 kilometers, we have finally arrived at the Hard Rock Hotel in Desaru. Come on. The first thing I noticed when we arrived at the hotel was the energy. It felt different. I soon realized that it was Iron Man weekend and people were all pumped up. While I was sitting around observing the crowd, I was reminded of an old Mercedes slogan, "The best or nothing." It's a very bold statement. Think about it. Who in their right mind would pay money to enter a race and subject their bodies to such suffering and their minds and hearts to such agony? It must be their relentless pursuit of being the best. So I decided to get down to the ground and ask some of them about the motivation behind this seemingly absurd endeavor.
Why do you pay money to participate in an event like that, to put your body in so much pain? I'm very curious.
Honestly, that's a very good question. I also not sure.
This is maybe the 10th event I've done, and the answer is I have absolutely no idea.
I think it's really for myself.
Okay.
It's really self-satisfying.
We always try to push ourselves to our limits, push our body to our limits and see how far we can go.
If you say that only 1 to 2% of the world's population has ever ran a marathon, you're talking about an even smaller percentage of population who has even done an Ironman. So it's kind of like an exclusive club.
At the end of the day, it's just to have fun, have a good experience, and like most people, just to keep fit.
But isn't this an extreme way of keeping fit? You can just go for a normal 3 km run or a 10-lap swimming session. But why do you want to go for this ultimate challenge?
I think it's a life achievement for a lot of people, and I think it's to prove to yourself that you can do something that some people might think is impossible. It allows you to break all these barriers, like physical but also mental barriers. It's very difficult, but when you go through the crisis during the race and then you break through it and finish in a good time, then it's a great feeling.
Now, do they all drive a Mercedes? After all is said and done about the GLC 300, there's still something that bothers me and I can't seem to shrug it off. You've probably guessed it, the price. The CPU unit for this all-new GLC 300 Soul variant is priced at 430,000 and the CKD variant probably wouldn't differ too much. That's a good 70,000 extra compared to the previous model. Not a small amount. Okay, so let me try to justify this. While the price might seem steep compared to the previous model, this is an all-new model with an all-new drivetrain and completely revamped interior. However, the most important part to consider is this. This middle child Mercedes-Benz GLC 300 will likely be the last of its kind. Now, why do I say that? According to Mercedes, by 2025 they will stop producing all-new internal combustion engine cars and instead focus on electrifying their range of vehicles. So here we are, standing at the precipice of a total overhaul in the century-long run of ingenious automotive engineering, design and architecture. And to be able to own the last German work of art is truly an opportunity to own a piece of history. So this is my advice. If you have been holding back on getting the GLC for years, always hoping and waiting for a better version, now is probably the time to seriously consider. Okay, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you in the next one. Ciao!